Kia ora, and welcome to Constellations and All That. I'm your host, Tracy Cartwright, and together we will be exploring the world of family constellations with facilitators and clients from around the world, looking at different perspectives and experiences in the work, having a cup of tea and just chatting with some friends around their experiences in constellations. We'd love for you to join us. I hope that you enjoy this series as much as I have loved making it. Kia ora everyone, welcome to Constellations and All That. Today I have the pleasure of chatting with Nadine Engel, which is,
Engel.
well, I haven't said that quite right because it flows off her tongue a whole lot easier than mine. But we just discussed Nadine's name and it means angel, which when you listen to this story, you're going to understand why, because for me, she's an angel. So welcome, Nadine.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much. Thank you for your invitation. And oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, I'm getting emotional already now that we start.
Oh. Would you like to share with the listeners and the viewers where in the world you are and where you're from and anything that's...
Yeah, I'm German. I'm born in East Germany and lived the last years when I was living in Germany and West Germany. Yeah, and I live since nearly 27, 28 years in Spain on a small village close to the beach and a very nice area in Catalonia. So we have nice beaches, and in the back we have the mountains. So really, really beautiful area. It's like my home that I chose. But I do think really, Tracy, once we left our home country, or the country where we are born, the world becomes really small. So yeah, I've been traveling a lot, and yeah, here I am today, a little bit in New Zealand with you.
Beautiful. And you and I met just recently at the ISCA International Conference, which was fascinating and fantastic and moving for me, magical and transformative, as all of those conferences are, like whenever you go to any gathering, whether it's a small constellation gathering or a large one, actually, they just have their different layers.
Yeah.
Okay, can you share, please, how did constellations find you?
Wow, that's quite a few years ago. Actually, there was the first one that I went to is because I wanted to understand. I had very violent relationships, and I didn't understand. I come from a quite violent background, but I didn't, in that moment at least, I didn't understand exactly like that I was repeating my childhood anyhow. So yeah, the first constellation was actually about my family of origin, and that was quite impressive, really. And then like a year or so later, I again wanted to go. And yeah, and then quite quick, I really liked constellations. It was like another way of feeling things, not so much with the mind, with the brain, to see really what is behind it. So yeah, then I started to do more and more and more and more constellations, go to workshops with people from all over the world. And then I made my first course, my first training about constellation. And then I thought, oh wow, Bert Hellinger, I'm German, so of course I have to go and see Bert Hellinger, and he was quite old already, right? So I thought like, oh yeah, I have to go. And yeah, and it really impressed me so much. So I started my training in Hellinger School in Germany as well. So I went like once a month. I flew to Germany. And yeah, and then I was working for Hellinger School for Hellinger Science for a few years as well. And yeah, that's how I came to constellations. And it took me years really until I started to really do my own constellations for people to facilitate. Then I saw that in constellations the body is a bit missing. I thought like trauma-wise that something was missing, something tactile, something touchable, right? So then I did my first trainings about trauma, somatic experiencing, soma embodiment, and lately as well, since a few years, I work a lot with IFS, internal family system, and with IFIO, that's intimacy from inside out. It's
Oh,
about the internal parts, like with in a couple relationship, or with it can be family also, or with your brother or sister. Like my parts that want to protect me react to your parts, yes, and we go to this vicious cycle, and that is really amazing as well. So yeah, I do combine constellation with other modalities, with shamanism as well. So we do have quite a few things there in common as well, Tracy, I think, with our tambour, with our drums, and
yeah,
yeah.
beautiful. And you have an institute.
Yes, I still have it there in the name, yeah. Yes, I have an institute. I do give training. It's a basic family constellation, as I've learned in Hellinger school. And then there's an advanced, which is really with the look at trauma, because for me, constellations is always trauma. It's about personal trauma, pre-verbal, as well as transgenerational. It's always something about a deep pain not being seen. So for me, constellations is really important to have the look at the nervous system of the person, of how the person is coming, and how to integrate as well after the constellation. So that's what I do. Yeah.
Beautiful. I was going to jump into when you and I met. So we were in Megan Kelly's offering at the conference, and she used the medicine wheel or the four directions,
Yeah.
and she had, I think she sort of named each area, and then in the center, can't remember what she named the center. There were different parts.
Sincerely, Tracy, I can't remember even what the topic was about. It was actually I had to translate because I was
Mhm.
translating now in the conference as well. And I was translating, and I said to the other translator, I said, "Hey, is it okay? I really feel the urge like to go inside." And I don't even remember the topic. And I work a lot with the wheel of the four directions myself, but it was like I don't know. I was walking in there and I was like, oh my God. And then I don't know how it happened. I ended up in the middle, in the green, which is the here I am looking at
The
all the
center. Yeah,
directions
yeah.
at the center. And there appeared Tracy. Wow.
So you were having your constellation, I'm having mine. There was a whole lot of us walking around doing stuff. And I mean, I don't know what was going on for you, but for me, I was integrating at the different points. And then at one point, she'd said you can stand in the middle. And I think it was around bringing it all together. And I was going from part to part, and I went around a couple of times. And then there was a part of it I asked the question, do I need to stand in the middle? And I heard no. And I looked down and you were standing, like all I could see was your feet. You were standing on there. And I heard, you don't need to stand in the middle. She's doing it. She's standing there. She's already there. And so obviously this was part of my process. And so I looked from your feet up, 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 up. And at that moment, it was like I was looking in a mirror because we were at roughly around the same height and, you know, we're similar-ish build. I'm a bit bigger, but we're a similar-ish build. And it was like, yeah, it was like looking in a mirror and that deeper soul connection. And then, yeah, and then I made a movement. I did a hongi, which for those who don't know is the pressing of the noses and the forehead together and sharing the breath. And oh, it was just pure magic. I think we were the last ones left on the field. It was a very special moment. And I know in that same time, you will have been having your process, which will have been something which will have had a different story to what mine was, but a magic of constellations, right? We can all be doing our own thing, but and sharing it.
That's what I really love about rituals, because it's like everybody is working at the same time. I know it's not like one is choosing the representatives, but we can all work on the same time. I really love it. It has so many resources. And it's so funny, Tracy, because when you told me what was going on for you, it had so much to do with with me at the same time. Even though for me it was something completely different, but for me it was like looking at you. No, I was like turning around and from the center, like seeing all the different directions and all the different movements and all the people around. And it was you looking at you, and I was immediately crying, like tears ran down my face. It was like, wow, it was, oh my God, it was so beautiful. Here we are.
And here we are, so grateful that you had the impulse to step into the field as well. You know, that we often say in constellations, don't we, that the field will pull you in or call you in. You can sit there and resist it, but it's still going to call you.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't. I wasn't, like normally I'm the like, no, no, I'm here to translate, so I have to sit here and just translate, just do your job. But no, 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 it was like I really had to go in. It was wow.
And there were two translators that day as well, so that was
Yeah,
a
there
bonus.
was a confusion. It was me actually translating, and then Bethany came up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you," and she was like, "Yeah," and I said, "Oh, no problem. So we can do it together." So it went everything the way that I would be in the workshop and I could do this movement and meet you, Tracy.
Beautiful, beautiful.
The field brought us
So
together.
you bring in some shamanic elements. Is that what you're saying earlier?
Yeah,
Yeah, with
yeah,
rituals.
yeah. So do you, no?
Yeah, I have really struggled with the word shamanic
Yeah, it's
for
more
my own.
medicine.
Yeah, I will say to people, call me a medicine woman, call me a witch, call me whatever. Just struggling with the word shaman until I went to Mexico, and I don't know, something dropped in there. I still hadn't can't wear the label shaman, but I do shamanic things, I would say.
That's very interesting that you're saying that, Tracy, because for me to call myself a witch is there's a lot of fear coming with that. Because in Europe the witches were burned for I say so many times to my clients, no? Sometimes people come and I don't know how I end up always like opening the third eye or like being them really like trusting into what they are feeling or what they're sensing, and you might call it intuition or not, like when we really feel like from our guts, like when something is going to happen, or right. And people often are afraid to really feel what they are feeling. Yeah. And I've been working with that, and I've been in previous lives, and as well my ancestors burned, in Europe was a lot of witch burning. And I often say it's like for really for what we're doing, we would have been burned not so many years ago, huh? Lucky us.
That's not an invitation for anyone, by the way. It's just a comment. Huh? Times have changed, just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. So, yeah, the different language, right? The different. I had an experience in Sweden where I recognized the past life there and the burning and the having pokers through the side of my head in the middle of the dam, in the main part of Stockholm. It's still easier for myself to have that word that it has been shaman until, as I say, until I went to Mexico and felt into the land and recognized another layer of myself there and acknowledged and was able to go, yes, okay. Yeah, it's a little bit easier. So,
But
but I
it's
get,
true. Usually the medicine people, they don't really say, they don't like to be called shamans.
mm.
Sounds like more fancy, right? But not.
For me, I feel like I haven't had the ritual. I've had lots of experience and lots of other things that have happened that have put me in, that have activated my, yeah, enhanced them, whatever you want to say. But I haven't had that, like a shaman would have been taken as a child and guided for many years, and all of that. So, same in here in New Zealand, originally a tohunga, which we probably refer to as a shaman, would have been the same. They would have been melded as a child.
Oh,
Hey,
I would love to learn more about. I know a little bit. I was reading some books about the Aboriginals in Australia and um the singing to the rain and but I don't really know a lot about from New Zealand, so I would love to. I would really love to learn more.
Well, we're welcome you with open arms when you come.
I would love to. It's like 20 years ago since I've been to New Zealand. The field is calling me back, I think. Yeah, it's amazing.
How do you, if you're meeting someone who's new to constellations, how do you describe it to them?
Usually I just invite them to come and to really experience it. It's not easy to explain constellations. It's even in the trainings, like the first module when the people learn about constellations and the orders of love and so on. And how do we explain constellations to the people? I don't know. I don't know. It's not easy. Actually, I sometimes I show the people like Rupert Sheldrake. He's a scientist, and I met him in Hellinger, and I was translating for him as well. And he has this book, for example, like about the morphogenetic fields and like so I explain no like when all the birds are flying and they are having like they have a system and they move and they don't have time like to the one in the front to tell the one in the back, now I turn a little bit to the right, and we all go to the right and then we go a little bit down, so they would all bump into each other. So these are morphogenetic fields, so it's scientifically confirmed that this really exists. Virginia, Satir, and so on, where constellations really come from. And the Zulus, where Bert was living, no, as a missionary during several years, and so yeah, it's a bit more. It's not so easy, yeah, actually, to explain constellations.
I think for a lot
Yeah.
of us, it's a knowing. For me, the first time I experienced it, it was a knowing. I know this week, but I don't know it. I don't know why I know it, but I know it.
Yeah.
It's given me a much greater understanding of myself. So
And also like the possibility to have a wider view about something that is like not visible at the first sight, but to really look behind what is there. For example, an exercise I love to do, I offer as well a systemic ritual, like constellations in law. And it's really so easy. If you like, I put myself and the person I have a conflict with. And then behind that person, I put the person that I'm really looking at. It's not really you that I'm looking at, but I'm looking at someone behind you, right? And the same, and the person that I have the conflict with is doing the same, is looking somewhere else, which is not really me. So this is something like to really like to, wow, okay, no, because sometimes we are so in our thinking that we don't, it's difficult to really like to open the heart and to really feel what is behind, what is not seen, and acknowledging what is, especially in trauma. I myself, I have a lot of trauma conflict complex, and acknowledging what is and confirming, yeah, I'm not crazy, what I feel is real, and to see that in a constellation is like really acknowledging and to be able to say yes to how it was and yes to how it is today. And I'm in my process, and I'm still doing my process and carrying on and learning about myself to look different at myself, no, with more compassion and love. And yeah.
yeah, beautiful. Definitely does that, doesn't it? We can say yes to what is, because that's one of the biggest struggles, right? We're fighting it, fighting the fact that things have happened, and yeah, it's a part of us and potentially maybe stuck there or wishing for a different outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, but wishing for a different outcome is often like wanting to go back to the past, no? Like I'm just remembering this film now. Back to the Future was the name, or like we want to go back to the past and we want to change something in the past, and I wish it would be different, and I wish My mom would look at me and would really see me, and I was, no, my dad would have been less violent and this and that. But this was like really like a fantasy of the little one that is still stuck in there, still hoping. I mean, my mom died 2 years ago, and seriously, I was even after her death, I was thinking like, oh, and she died in my arms, and I was still thinking like, did I do it right? You know, it's like still wanting to do it right, and yeah, that is the little one, my Nadine adult woman, being a mom myself, is knows that it was before my love that I could give. But the little one is still like, am I doing it right? Is it enough? Is it too much? All those, yeah.
There's another layer of our commonality, right? So my mum passed away 2 years ago as well.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Oh dear. I'm
just
sorry.
that's yeah, same. It's amazing how much you and I have in common. There are so many things that are lining up. So love that the field has brought
Yeah.
us together. Yeah. You mentioned
Yeah, isn't it weird? We met on one continent, Tracy, and now we are sitting on another continent and on another continent. Isn't it amazing?
the world is a small place too, right?
The world is a small place, but I do really, really believe that the people we have to meet, we meet. And there's a time for that as well, right? And sometimes we spend some time together and we meet, and then sometimes no, each goes their own way. But it's like when we have to meet.
Exactly. All right. You mentioned Rupert Sheldrake, and he's been so in conversation lately. And for those who are listening, I highly recommend you listen to some Audible or you find some of his books as well. So his son, Merlin, is coming to Aotearoa next
Oh, really?
next month. He's coming to talk about, he works with psilocybin and in the field as well. So he's doing a talk on that. So I'm going to that. But also, I think Rupert had quite an influence too, didn't he, in Hellinger's work or the understanding of Hellinger's work.
I think to make it
Coming
a little
through.
bit more official, right? To make it a little bit less voodoo. There was a time in Germany when and Bert the last years was really like repeating that. There was a time when he was not very well seen when he spoke about and when he wrote about Hitler. And there's still unspoken things in Germany, and there's so much guilt and shame, and so people don't really want to like put with their, like in German we say like put someone with his nose inside it to really look at it. And yeah, and he was really like, I remember last time when he was on stage in Bad Reichenhall, we was talking about that, like the psychologists and theologists, you say in English. Yeah, we're not so happy about when he was saying that Hitler, how can I see you as a monster if you are just as human as I am? Because people wanted to see, wanted, really needed to see him as a monster, right? So yeah, and then I think the way to have Rupert coming to the conference. I was translating. I hated to translate that because it was so difficult, the words, you know. So I was translating from English to German, no, from English to Spanish that day. And yeah, what I like, what I love from Rupert is the places have memories.
Places.
Yes, places have memories. You know, like when sometimes there's an accident, and you often see an accident at the same place. You see like the cross, no, on the road or houses. Actually, since many, many years, I have a real estate company, a part of my constellations, and it made a lot of sense to me. The places have memories and houses have souls, and
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah. You see, like the many years I was like kind of separating those two businesses. And I'm so thankful really to my real estate because it's yeah, I'm really looking for homes and finding homes for people, and where I am home is no, where I decide to my choice to be home there. And yeah, and I have, when I left from East Germany, we left everything behind to have the liberty to travel and to speak what we wanted to say. So we left everything behind before the borders were open. So we had to leave everything. So we went to a refugee camp and so on. And my grandparents, my grandma also, when the Russians invaded in Schlesien, which is now Poland, but back then it was Schlesien, it was part from Germany. They invaded and they had to escape as well. So I also left everything behind. So I have a lot to do with losing home and losing your roots. And so, yeah. Hmm. And thanks to my real estate, I'm able to pay all those many, many trauma trainings and no, not cheap.
Do you want to share a little bit more about that? Like, how does it work for you? How do you do that with real estate and constellations?
Yeah, sometimes people would come, and the other day came a lady to the real estate to my office, and actually it was closed already. It was Saturday afternoon, but I was like still doing some stuff. My secretary had gone already, and I'm not very often there because I'm very busy with the therapy. Yeah, but it was like coincidence that I was there and the door was open. So she came in and she said she wanted to buy an apartment and at the beach and this and that. And then she said, "Yeah, and I don't know how it came." And she talked about her. She had a big masía, old masía, like an old Spanish house in the middle of a finca, like a rustical plot. And she wanted to sell that, and I was like, "Oh wow." And she was like, "Yeah, but and with my ex, and I'm still together." And I said, "Oh, come." So I made a constellation with her, absolutely spontaneous, just the way we met, Tracy. There were things that were not said in between her and her then still husband. So yeah, so I had a constellation with her, and then 2 days later, she called me. She said, "I've sold the Masia to a really good price. I've bought already an apartment." I was like, "Oh, what a shame she didn't buy with me." But anyways, with my real estate. But yeah, and she said it's unbelievable because exactly when I came home, my then husband, we had a separation now, but in such a loving way. He told me exactly the same words. We were since years, we were living next to each other. We didn't speak to each other. And he told me the same words and the same sentences that you told me in the constellation. I can't believe it. So, yeah.
Wow, that's
Like sometimes when
beautiful.
I want to sell something or I want to build something, I'm not sure if there's any hidden things behind. And yeah, you do a constellation, you do a representative for the house or the property, just
Mhm.
as you would do or for the sale. Just this week, 2 3 days ago, I made a constellation for someone that wanted to sell his car, and he ended
Okay.
up crying because he couldn't he didn't say goodbye to his first car that because of a fault of him broke. So he had to how do you say so there was still some pain there. Isn't it incredible? We think it's materialistic, but it's much more than that. It's like
Oh, I think people have emotional connections to their vehicles, to their houses, to the, obviously to the land. But we don't, yeah, like people have emotional connections to things, right? Things that belonged in the family, or things, the first thing you ever bought with the first paycheck that you ever got. So there's absolutely someone's going to have.
or some
I still
inheritance,
think about my first car. It was like, wow, that is still has such a big place in my heart. So yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Actually, you can really do constellations on pretty much everything, huh?
Yeah.
On an emotion, on a feeling, on a thought, on a belief, on things. And as you say, especially land, there's so much because um, it can be a land where there was some war crime. It can be a land it can be even like a shop, a bar, or whatever. And many years ago, someone lost the money in a game, so, sometimes the people would get the money because of they were kind of stealing or doing any harm to another family. So this has something to do always, no? The victim perpetrator dynamics, even if the perpetrator or the victim is coming from another family, it starts it is then your own it belongs to your family system then, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's really like sometimes there are things behind it that like from the mental thinking we can't, and all those hidden dynamics when we release, and when we release the pain, and when we can really like have the victim and the perpetrator really see each other, it's so relieving for the property, for the person. If it's a divorce, for example, and someone didn't want to divorce, so I'm trying to sell my property, but I can't sell it because the other person is still holding on to it, and there's still something not finished. This cycle is not finished anyhow in between us, no?
So I'm just going to ask the field what else do we need to ask about them? And immediately I'm looking at the wall and there's the word grief. So I'm just going to ask, it's just jumping out at me. It wasn't where I thought I was going with my question, but that word just keeps.
Yeah.
So you live in Spain right now, and how is Constellations received there? Is there a lot of grief through that country? Is there, because I've never really been to that part of the world. I've been to many places, but not to that part of the world. So just understanding.
It's actually constellations are quite known here in Spain. Yeah, sometimes people are just having a weekend of a constellation, and then they start constellating. But what is calling me the attention a lot with Spanish, when I mean, for me, nearly always it is something deep, deep, deep that is coming from in the constellations. But there's a lot as well with the civil war in Spain, that the Catalan, and I live in Catalonia, so it's kind of repeating a little bit their history from 30 years ago, with East and West Germany, and like when parts of the countries are seen as better or worse, and yeah, there's a lot of topics as well when we go back. We're all second generation from the war, the civil war in Spain, World War. There's so many wars in all our families, everywhere. Like in South America as well, and all the genocides, and it's like wherever we go, sometimes we have to go another generation back, but in all our families there's war, and there's so much really to be relieved and to be liberated, really. But yeah, not always people go so deep. So it's more, actually in Spain, people do a lot of constellations, like about their work, finding a good job, or about couple relationship, like wanting to have a couple or another couple, or I want my partner to be different, or
Good luck.
yeah.
I said that just
So
now.
then we are, there we are, and then we say like, yeah, let's talk about you. What's your parts that are coming up with that, with your partner? What is there?
Often
Yeah.
people are kind of me. No, it's them. So in Spain, like I think some areas have got, and I guess we all have a mixture of different things. Some have a lot of war trauma, some have. What am I asking? What question am I asking? I don't know.
What's here
That
also a
word is
lot
still
is with,
that word is still
yeah.
jumping out. So I'll leave grief on the field and see if for us in this moment.
Wow, you throw grief in the field.
I'm not. The field is throwing it, and field is inviting it. I'm just the conduit.
Wow.
Is there anything that you would share around grief, maybe for the listeners, that you have any insights or gifts that have come from the grief that you have experienced in the last few years?
Wow. When you say that, I have so many of my own griefs popping up, and there's my lost twins that are like, talk about me, and with my mom, and there's a big grief that I had when I was small. My father suicided, and so that is a difficult topic that I that I work with. So the grief, like in impacting griefs when you lose a child, or when a beloved one decides to leave and to suicide, cancers, and yeah, there's because it has a lot to do with trauma. Griefs are coming quite often actually as well.
I used to find myself I used to cry a lot. And I think from my own traumas, complex trauma, and then also being the conduit and holding stuff for my family. So unspoken, and my family is very good at that. Um,
Yeah,
in my maternal line, there was so much loss of babies, and that grief of that disconnection from the mother to the child, to the living children. So yeah, so I
yeah,
used to find that tears came really easy to me. And interesting because my sister, my biological sister, she can't cry. She says that I, I feel them stuck. And I thought, come out. I said, I think I've done all the crying for you. This has been so much. And then it got to the point, as a female, having those hormonal changes, that I would save up those programs on television where it's like long lost families, like who do you think you are and where do you come from, those sort of families. And I would sit and watch them so that I can intentionally release the tears that were building up in me. It was like, give me a channel. So I would save up to have a day where I could just sit and watch that and just let the tears flow out of me, which was a real relief.
yeah.
And give myself permission, because so often people don't give themselves permission to cry.
That was when I started with family constellations. Before I was always like the funny one, and the one that's like and smart and funny and whatever. However, I had to be, to be loved and seen. And then when I started with family constellations, and everybody was like, "Oh, Nadine's coming, get the tissues out." So yeah, I did a lot of crying. And I still do, when I'm in the field and I'm representative. In your workshop, yeah, there was like this big scream coming, like really from really,
Oh,
it was really coming out of my guts, yeah, when I was representing the
remember
the
that I came up
ancestors.
behind you, didn't I? That was one of those. I came up behind you, and together we put that sound out because of this mountain wanting to be erupt.
Yeah, it was like really something, wow, like years and years, and how you say, suppressed, grief and pain and powerlessness, and yeah, that's what I really feel, Tracy, that I don't see it like victimizing myself, having had trauma, a lot, but that's what I really feel. I can really be with the person, with whatever is there. We can go very deep inside to the darkest places, and I'm going to stay. I'm not like, oh yeah, tomorrow you're going to be better or whatever. It's like I stay for the time you need it, and yeah, and when you're ready, then together we we get out, and I will find the ways to reconnect to that, to the inner resources and to the self, to the essence. And sometimes in my case, with my ancestors, no, when I work with rituals, sometimes I go like, no, when you were saying no, with the mother daughter, I do retreats. No, part of the training is the mother. So me as a mother and me as a daughter with my mother. So mother is a really big important topic. And so I would do rituals where we put like several generations, mother, daughter, mother, daughter, mother. And sometimes, like in my case, it's not enough to put 7 generations to really get a resource, because there's so much pain during generations and generations. Yeah. And of lost children, of lost babies, of yeah, so such a lot of pains that I can't feel the pain. If I allow myself to feel it, it might be too much, even for my nervous system and for my inner system, right? So then we sometimes have to go really back like many generations to the source of femininity, right? Somewhere in any generations there is resource, and there we give it back to all the ancestors in our family that might need it.
Yeah. You reminded me of one. So Ingela Robel, who we've just been with in Mexico,
Yeah.
years ago, she came to Australia and we did. It was started out as a constellation around money, and then it very quickly morphed into there were 20 women behind me that couldn't stand up, and they were all leaning on the one in front of them, and the one in front of them. Because the mothers were leaning on the children, and I was standing there, energetic, holding this. And she just said, and then I think the 20th one, actually, she might have brought in as something like that, the original feminine divine or something like that. And she said, now that you see it, go home and do some homework. And I was just like, what the? And she says, yeah, I'm not fixing this. This is not, you've seen it. Now you go home and you do some homework. And I remember being floored. It was great to see.
So what
And it
was your
made
homework then?
and it made sense. Well, my homework has been years of reconnecting and layers of finding that deeper love and understanding for what wasn't available, what the little Tracy had been searching for, and many different processes I've done. I did one where I laid a representative out for each of them, and then stood with them and could feel some of what they were experiencing, and offering acknowledgement and bringing in some resources for them. And then the next layer was, as that settled, then there were other layers. It's probably one of the best things.
What?
It's probably one of the best things that's happened. It was really painful. And my mum always said to me, you always had to learn the hard way. Well, I'd like to change that these days. But yeah, I think from an early age, that was, for me, I took one of those roles because of that. The pain, the grief, and the loss that was already there.
Yeah, and it's like with our fantasy as children, we think we can deal with it. Yes. If I carry it for you, mom, then you don't have to carry it. So if you don't have to carry the pain, so maybe you will be able to look at me, to love me.
There'd be more space for you to see me. All of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's also like it's not just a decision that I step out of the line and I'm not going to carry you all anymore, but it's really like imprinted in our cells, in our identity even. Actually, when after my mom died, I really realized that it's a completely new me, completely new, and I did a lot of personal work before already, but who am I when I'm not caring about when I'm not trying to save my mom, like I've tried with my father, for example, and I didn't manage because he suicided. So I had to save my mom, and yeah, that was also not possible. So then what I do now when I'm not occupied saving the world,
I found after mum passed, there was a part of me that felt guilty because she lived with us for 9 years and she was very sick in the last 3 to 4 years, homebound and on oxygen and stuff. And there was a part of me that was so relieved because I could live without the weight of it all. Now I can start living, which those words were at the time. I remember thinking, "Crikey, it's a bit much," but I understand it.
What do you still have that thought around? Can you?
Yes, but
Does
it
it make
doesn't
sense to
doesn't
you
weigh as
that?
heavy on me. I can live fully now,
Yeah.
like that. There was that another layer of, that little one. I came into the family after lots of grief as well, not just the generational, but that what had happened with mum and dad and the siblings and stuff. So feeling that, trying to be the light for everyone and keeping, so being able to go.
I fully understand, Tracy, that part of you that Tracy that was relieved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that might be hard for some people to
Finally,
hear,
I can breathe.
Yeah, it might be hard for some people to hear, but for others, it might be like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one, you know?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm looking at a picture of my mum while we speak. She's like,
I have one of my mom as well there.
just up
The
there.
last day when I took her out of hospital together with my daughter. There was one moment that I had a really nice connection with her, and I said, Mom, I'm going to do it different.
Yeah.
And I do think I do. I have a very beautiful relationship with my daughter. So, yeah, trying not to. She has her own destiny, of course, and her own package to carry, but what I can, I, yeah, I try to release, to let go of, so she doesn't have to carry it. So I'm not like on top of her.
Yeah. Really grateful, eh? This is my experience. Really grateful for all of that too, because as you say, those things give us the resources to be able to hold the spaces in ways that maybe others haven't experienced or had that. A deeper understanding, I think. So even though they were painful, I'm incredibly grateful for it.
And now that you're saying it, really, Tracy, it's like I had several constellations really where that exactly was the point, that how difficult it is. And I see it in the with when I work with IFS and with somatic and in the private consultation, and how difficult it is to grieve when there's so many parts, like with my father, I had a part that was really afraid of him. Another one, I so loved him, and I would have given my life if he would have stayed longer. And there's so many parts and voices and feelings inside of me, and to really, yeah, and to say also acknowledge that also this is true. Also this can be, of course, there's a part that is relieved if you have been 9 years caring about your mom, and actually you did your whole life. It was not just the last 9 years, it was your whole life, right? What you said. So yes, of course, it does make a lot of sense, right? As well as it makes a lot of sense that there's other parts that are saying, how can you say that? Oh my God, what would the people think?
That might be my English nannery side saying, you can't say that. What will people think?
Yeah, well, whose voice is that? Is that really yours, or is that some
That's what I'm saying.
coming?
So, Mum, maybe that English line. Mum used to say that quite a bit, and that came from her. That definitely came from her line, and her mum was English. And oh God, don't what the neighbours think. I'm like, I don't care about what the neighbours think. Really, I used to worry about what the neighbours thought.
I thought
Uh,
I just know the sentence in German. Like, oh, what might the people think about us? What might the people think when I see you with the dirty trousers?
yeah, let's stay loyal to that until we don't. But,
I'm curious actually about the well, we can talk about it later. It's like our podcast is like more we're talking more about each other. It's like, wow, we met each other, and it's like, oh great, let's have a Zoom.
well, this is a very casual podcast, and I think sometimes I'm talking with people that I haven't connected with on a heart level like you and I have. So it is a little bit more surface, but yeah, this is
Yeah, we are deep, right?
yeah, yeah, and for people like to hear people's stories as well, I understand.
Yeah, that's the authentic me, yeah. That's it.
Mm.
With all those voices, with all those layers inside of me. And I'm really curious, Tracy, when you were in my workshop, it was about the inner critic and about parts that sometimes talk harsh with us that always have a good intention.
Yeah, I was with two people who completely misheard your instructions, completely. And I was like, do I have the energy right now in this moment to correct them? So I didn't. I just let it be what it was being, and it was perfect for me. When I did mine, I received what I needed to receive, like from it. And theirs went off in a completely out their directions, and that was absolutely fine as well. Um,
That is a lot of learning. I'm a lot with that lately as well, Tracy. Like to realize like what is yours and what is mine.
mm,
And how, no, like, okay, this is yours. This is your responsibility, no? And I can let it go.
Yeah, yeah. And I think during when we were doing the wind down in your group and you were sharing something and then one of them went, "Oh, I think I got that completely wrong." And I was just like, "That's okay.
Yep.
It was perfect as it was. It was absolutely fine." Like because I've been there myself. I've done that in
Yeah.
workshops too, where I've gone, the facilitator's given us instructions and I've gone completely on another level somewhere else. But it's all perfect. So yeah, we just roll
Yeah,
with
and usually when we are doing a work with with a representative like that, there's a message inside of that. It's never a coincidence that you
it.
were especially with that person, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was an interesting experience also having the parts because we did a more IFS, internal family systems constellation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Um, and I think I would have loved to have seen a full, I would have loved to have seen you work fully, but the day was, I think
Yeah,
we
we're like
lost some
nearly.
time over the day and we didn't really get to fully see um
Yeah.
receive your work. Yeah.
I would have loved, and there was a moment also, like when I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should do a like unburdening to get to the exiles, in IFS we work, for those that don't know about IFS, we work with protectors that protect. No, we all have parts. We are born with parts, and sometimes the parts take on a way to protect us for not feeling the pain that some of our, usually it's childhood or even legacy burdens like from previous generations. And what is really the deep healing is the unburdening of the exiles, of the weight that the exiles are carrying. But um, from my experience, when it's about deep stuff, then it can be that if I don't listen first to the protector part, why and it's protecting me, and how, and if I really feel, can listen with an open heart, and if I can really feel gratitude for what even the the inner critic is doing for me, then it's going to react. If I go directly, if I go over like around the, like, go away protector part, and I go directly there, because then I minimize its job, right? So it can be even angry afterwards. So it's important to really see until where we can go, and instead of wanting to do like, wow, a lot of crying and screaming and like, but to do it in a way that the people can really integrate it and really have a different listening to myself, like, oh wow, yeah, like when I realize that I have a part that actually some parts of me don't like that one, and then and I can really listen to it from my heart and not from another part. It's like it becomes so much more easy, the system inside.
Yeah, because you're not excluding parts of yourself.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't judge. So if I don't exclude, if my inner conflict is more balanced, and I can from my heart really listen to my parts and to understand and to feel why they're doing that for me, then
Mm.
it's a lot easier as well to be with other people around me, and to see, no, that if I work with my inner conflict, it's a lot easier to understand, I don't know, my partner relationship or my sister, or no.
Absolutely. And have more compassion or empathy for what they are going through, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like it's not anymore a ping pong in between the parts inside of me, and or the part with with the people around me or colleagues at work or whatever, but to really, oh yeah, yeah, now he's reacting in this way. Oh yeah, okay, I understand, because my part was like, of
Mm.
course they react, protecting themselves. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, Nadine, it's been amazing talking to you, and we could continue talking for ages.
Me too. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's late already. I can see
Yes, I
myself.
know
Oh
we've
my
already
God.
been talking for quite some time. Um,
I'm
so
really, I have very, very red cheeks. You see, that's very German. I was cold before, so I put like a big, thick sweater on, and now it's like,
does it get cold in Spain?
Well, it gets cold for me because I was I'm living here for many years, and in the winter time when we have like about maybe 5 degrees, the coldest, then I very often travel to South America or yeah,
Yeah,
South
we adapt,
Africa.
don't we? Because I live in what they call the winterless north, and it's not because it does get cold. But not compared to the other New Zealanders who have it, -5 degrees, and we are sitting at like maybe 4, 5.
So
So
4 or 5 is also like
I
the
think we're
coldest
probably
again.
pretty close. I think sometimes we might get down to like 1, but very rarely here and where I live. But in other parts of the country, it's really common. Further south. I'm in the north of the North Island, so
I remember when I went to New Zealand, I was climbing the Franz Joseph. That was
mhm,
really cold.
yeah, the big glacier.
Yeah, crazy things.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to put your contact details in the
Mhm.
thread. And so you work online as well, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if anyone wants to do some work with Nadine, I highly recommend that you reach out. We'll put actually, if you could just say one of your contact details, maybe your your website or something like that, just speak it because sometimes people are more audible and they like to hear it.
Yeah. So my email address is easy. That's Nadine Engel Therapy. Nadine.engel.therapy I say at
At
gmail.com. Nadine
gmail.com.
Engel Therapy. And it's on Instagram, I'm Nadine Engel. Reconectate, which is reconnect
Mhm.
in Spanish. And yeah, and the website, I'll have to change the name, I think, if I work more in English. It's www.re, R-E,
Yeah.
hyphen connecta hyphen t.com, which means reconnect to yourself. Yeah, it's a bit complicated. Maybe you better write that.
It's okay. We'll put them in the link. I was just looking to see if there was anything else in there, but beautiful. It has been
Yeah,
so
or they can just contact me by mobile or yeah.
fantastic. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much, my dear, for the
coming and
invitation.
sharing your time with me, and really look forward to being in your space again sometime soon.
Yeah, I hope we meet. Who knows where in the world, eh? We met in Mexico. Now I sit in Spain and you in New Zealand. So let's see where we meet again. Come over.
Who knows? Thank you.
Thank you so much, my dear.
Thank you for listening. Head over to Instagram and tell me what's resonated for you with this episode. You'll find me at tracy.cartwright. That's Tracy with no E, .cartwright. Or head over to my website, tracycartwright.co.nz, and receive a free audio with the gift from your ancestors. So until next time, be kind to yourself and have fun doing it.